Jeff, we really appreciate you being here today. I'm going to do a little bit of an interview with Jeff. I'm going to ask him some questions, and then you will be able to ask some questions as we normally do it. Last week, we had Frank Beamer here, and I said, you know, what can we do fun with Frank Beamer? And I started looking around online, and we found some pictures of Frank Beamer, and I said, well, what can we do with Jeff Long? So so I had Dan, and I said, Dan, let's Google images Jeff Long. This is what pops up.
You know, before I got into athletic administration, I was a bodybuilder, and, you know.
So you can actually look down there in the bottom right, like that. We may have found them. Now, I don't can you just tell us about your background?
Well,
apparently I missed some stuff in the bio.
It's a dark part of my life. You know, I was engaged with a lot of performance-enhancing drugs, as you can tell, and you know, when you quit those things, your body does strange things. So this is what I ended up with after all that.
All right, what else do we have? What else do we find? I wanted to ask you about Coach Broyles. Obviously, we've all been honoring him with great memories over the last couple of weeks, but I'm sure that you have some thoughts about what it was like to interact with him and go into that position.
Yeah, you know, I've been asked a lot about that, you know, over the last several weeks, but really the thing that captured me about Coach Broyles is again, I'm meeting him when he's 82 years old, after 50 years of service to this university. And what struck me was, and you guys all know, you can anticipate what I'm going to say, it was his passion for the Razorbacks. It was genuine, it was sincere, it exuded from him. And then beyond that, there was a spirit, he had a spirit of him, you know, and he captivated a room. If he was in this room, all eyes would be on Frank Broyles. He had this indomitable spirit, this positive outlook on life, positive outlook on all things. And you know what? You could not help but be engaged and captivated by that and influenced by it. So, remarkable man. We've gone over his life, and truly remarkable, probably an overused term, but he had an extraordinary life, no question.
Pretty cool picture of you guys in the red jackets there. What else do we have up here? Oh yeah, TCU week. What happened there in Fort Worth last year?
Well, they wanted to meet the man who dropped them from 3 to 6 in their eyes, and I just shared with them that they deserved it. So, what can I say?
They knew who the chairman of the college football committee
is always right? I mean, their decision is right. So how can you argue with that? I don't know.
Well, that is, and we've talked about this before. We don't need to talk about it long, but just the idea that the guy that you had to speak on behalf of committee members that you might not necessarily agree with, but you're out there defending the position.
Yeah, and that's what most people miss. You know, they think the chairman makes a decision. You really may have very different views than what the committee ended up voting into place. And yes, as chair, you have to go out and represent the entirety of the committee and how they wound up. So, and that was challenging at times, because human nature is you want to share what you think. We all want to tell. I mean, Big Tim tells me what he thinks all the time. So we all want to know, everybody wants to share what they think. And so as you're a chairman, that's where you have to kind of double clutch there. Wait a minute, I have to answer this. I'm part of the entire committee.
Jeff said, I'm not worried about your questions. If I can just get by Tim's today, we're going to be fine. What else? Oh, there we go. Oh. Yeah, that's a screen grab from a video. I think you remember the story here?
I would just tell you, I would encourage everyone in this room, no matter your age, your health, whatever, play in the rain. Playing in the rain is one of the most, the exhilarating experience. So we beat a number 1 or 2 ranked team in the country in soccer, and, you know, people think I just decided I was going to dive in the puddle. Well, that's not actually true. One of the young women on the team did it, and then they started chanting my name. So, you know, what was a guy to do, right? You just peel off I didn't even peel off my jacket. And guess what? My phone's in my breast coat pocket there, and but it survived. The suit didn't. But really, what an exhilarating time. You know, I love the student athletes. That win for them was a huge win, and we're constantly trying to share with them that all of our 19 sports, they're important to us, and they truly are. And, we pay more attention to football and basketball and some of those, and baseball, but every one of those young people are just competing their hearts out for Arkansas. And you know what? I was caught up in the moment, and it seemed like a good idea. I've never regretted it. And you know what? I'm going to play in the rain again because it was so much fun.
All right, keep moving. Let's see what else. Move along.
What was that?
We made a mistake. We made a mistake. One kind of snuck in there. And I think that might have, look, now we got this of you, which is kind of appropriately timed.
Well, I was trying to blend in with the guys, right? They're a lot of fun. The young people, we get to hang out with young people. It keeps us young. So I was trying to, blend in with this group of good-looking young men.
So we got Austin Allen, Devois Whaley, Jeff Long, Josh Liddell, right? That's Josh. And then Kevin Richardson. I think I got all those guys right. We got any more? Is that it? Oh, what's going on here?
This is, don't be standing on the sideline when there's a controversial call because your coach will wave you down. Now, we're all aware of USC and Pat Hayden, who went on the field to argue a call, and I think Pat regrets that. And you notice my hands are in my pocket. I am not making any gestures towards the officials or anyone else. I'm doing what a good athletic director does with their coach. He listens, especially when they're in that frame of mind. You listen.
Now's a good time to talk about Coach Bielema. I've asked you this question on the radio and in other settings, and you've talked a lot about the impact that he's had off the field and a lot of positive things that he's done. I think some people, when I talk to them, they really like Coach Bielema, but they also say, hey, the guy's 26 and 26, and they want to see more wins. How do you balance all of the things happening off the field, because the football coach has all of those things to do, but winning is part of the equation too? How do you balance your evaluation there?
Yeah, obviously winning is very important. We all know that. It doesn't have to be said. An AD doesn't have to go out and make a statement that winning is important. We all know that's part of what we do. Every coach on our staff knows that winning is part of their job. It's an important part of their job. They need to do the other things as well, and that's our expectation, and that's our culture. That's what we've established over 10 years. There are coaches in our program who they have high expectations for their student athletes. Those expectations include their conduct and accountability, includes their academic, it includes how they perform and act in the community. So, we have that throughout our department now. I'm very proud of that. The academic end of what Coach Bielema has done is, in his words, off the charts, and it truly is. You will find very few, sometimes I overstate things, you will find very few football programs across this country that have nearly a 3.0 GPA for their team. Okay, we've led the SEC in academic honor roll the last 2 years. Those are important pieces. You know what? Bret fit our culture when he arrived, and that's why he was able to change that culture. We just need to win some more games, and Bret knows that, and I don't have to tell him that, and neither do you. And the call-in shows, act like we've never thought about winning more games. We truly are working hard to win more games. Winning is important, there's no question. But there's winning in all phases of what we do, and.
Yeah.
So I'll leave it there. Winning's important.
Can we take a call real quick?
Sure. Is this?
I would love to.
Who is it from?
No, we don't have a call.
It's that guy. Who's that guy? The hog train. Where is he?
Eddie in Clarksville is not here today.
Eddie in Clarksville are out there today.
He's. I'm sure he's prepping.
Is Duval Wally going to make an appearance?
I'm sure he's prepping for his next call.
Okay.
You mentioned last week there was a lot of conversation about games at War Memorial Stadium because the game was in Little Rock last week. And you mentioned at the time that you were entering into that period where a decision would be made on the future of games. How will that decision be made with this one game remaining on the contract and then even beyond that? Sure,
great question. And what prompted was, we are in that time period when a decision will need to be made simply for the fact we've got to schedule games. And we have to schedule opponents if we're going to be playing them in Fayetteville, if we're going to be playing them in Little Rock. So, we're in that time period. And we've been talking about it for all of my now 10 years we've been talking about this, and it's an important decision. And I guess I riled some people up when I said that I would, the chancellor and I had a tough decision. And I think all of you have known, at least of those of you who followed me closely, know I am a chain of command person. I deal with the chancellor of the University of Arkansas on a weekly, daily, hourly basis. So that's who I report to. That's who I communicate with. The chancellor obviously has a president of the system. The president of the system obviously has a board of trustees. By no way was I trying to remove the board of trustees from this decision. They can obviously play whatever role that they want to play in the decision. But I think the chancellor and I will eventually arrive at a recommendation that we would make up the chain of command. So, I think that, and I think most of you know, I'm not a guy that steps out there and boasts that I'm in control or I'm going to make this decision. I don't think you can find a single quote out there. I don't think you can go back over the 10 years where I've felt like this was a AD only decision. It's a big decision. It's more than the ADs. Look, I've talked a lot about Razorback athletics. What are we? We're part of the university. We are not the university. We are not the most important thing in the university. We are part of the higher education at the University of Arkansas. That is how our country is unique. Nobody puts higher education and high-level athletic performance together. The United States of America, the only place that does that. So, you know what? We're part of the university. The university is part of the state, and we know the importance of the university in the state. So, to think that it's a one-man decision, I've never thought that.
So what are you going to do?
We will make a decision. And well, let me qualify that. We'll make a recommendation, and then a decision will be made. Eventually, a decision has to be made. Either we're going to continue, do a new contract to continue to play there, or we won't. And I'm just saying we're in the time period when we need the leaders on campus, system, board, need to be making that decision.
Does the attendance last weekend or last Thursday, does that play a role? Does that factor in?
Well, I think it would. Yeah, I think it would, So yes, I think attendance at games, again, we talk a lot about the home field advantage. Giving the team the home field advantage is important. We see it at stadiums across the SEC. We see it at our own stadium here in Fayetteville. And we see it when the stadium's full in Little Rock. We have that home field advantage there as well. So yes, attendance is important, creating a home field advantage. And yes, I know some people think it's a dirty word, but generating revenue is important to our program. And that's important for us to do the things we want to do, not just in football, but all 19 of our sports. And it's important to the money we also give back to the university for the academic side of our university. So,
how has money changed your job? In that, not that long ago, Arkansas was maybe a $40-50 million budget. I guess a little over a decade ago, maybe. And now you're getting that much money from the SEC network.
Yeah. Yes, it's important to know that 10 years ago we were 10th, I believe, 10th out of 12 institutions in the amount of revenue we generated in the SEC. So 10th out of 12. I think we're now about 8 out of 14 in the revenue that we generate, okay? And then I think sometimes that number 40 million is a little bit deceiving, Bo, because that's not new money that just walked in the door. That has been incrementally grown over the course of 10 years, has been grown through the SEC network over the last 4 years. So, you know what? And those of you in business know expenses rise to revenues. So it happens in almost every business. It happens to us. We're now able to provide meals and fueling for all of our student athletes, where before there were rules that prohibited you to only 3 meals a day, and that's where you got into the debates about whether you could give a banana or a cookie or an apple and as a meal. So anyway, we've done that. We've funded cost of attendance. So we've been able to retain and hire quality coaches, because part of what we want to do is retain and hire quality coaches. And the market has made that far more expensive. As more money comes into the market, more money is spent on those coaching positions. And it's true at Arkansas, it's true at every school in the state and across the country.
I could go on, but I want to give people opportunities to ask really hard-hitting, difficult questions that put you on the spot. So who wants to be first? I'm kidding. Who wants to be first? Tim, the gears, look at the gears are turning. So give him a minute to, who wants to be first?
Well, Tim is typically quicker than that, but he's got a new hairstyle. I hope you notice. He's got, and I think it's slowing his brain down a little bit, you know?
It's handsome.
Tim, you're looking good. You're looking good.
Greg, what do you have?
What's been in your opinion, your most important decision you made in your 10 years here?
Let me give you a Butch Jones cliche. Oops. The next one I made. No. Most important decision, there's so many decisions. They're happening, they're happening while I sat over there at the table reading my email. So many important decisions. Most important decision.
Where the games are going to be played in Little Rock?
I haven't made that decision. Nobody's made that decision yet.
Hiring or firing of a coach or anything?
Oh, a lot of people think of that. I don't focus on hiring, firing of coaches. I would tell you firing a coach is never easy, just like I'm sure in your businesses, in your world, firing somebody, that's not an easy thing to do. That's not one thing that you relish doing. So those are difficult decisions no matter what the circumstances are. But I tend to focus on the things we've done for student athletes. Again, I go back to, I'm an educator at heart, and what we've done in graduating young people, now over 100 student athletes a year when we started somewhere around 40 or 50 a year. Those are monumental things to me because I know those lives are changed for the rest of their lives and their family lives. So I focus on the educational part. Yes, we need to win games, and yes, did I love winning the Cotton Bowl? Yes, and the Liberty Bowl. Yes, we love that. We love winning national championships, conference championships. All those things are special. But really, what we do is bigger than that. It's not saying it's not important. We want to win. I want to climb up that ladder and cut down that net. Absolutely. Will I enjoy that? Absolutely.
Right here.
I saw that there's a plan to put in place an improvement in the Wi-Fi
Yes.
in the stadiums in Bud Walton and Reynolds Razorback Stadium and Baum. What's the schedule for getting that implemented?
Yeah, I think it'll be football in 2018 where you see it. That's a great question. I don't know that we'll be able to have it in for Bud Walton this year. Better chance it could be in Baum Stadium this year. But I hesitate only because I think the major piece is football stadium in 18. So I think it's football in 18, then you'll see basketball in 18, and you'll see baseball in 18-19.
How about a quick update on the stadium?
Yeah, stadium's going great. We're excited at their progress. You heard Bret mention we already notice out on the practice field or out at practice when we practice in Donald W. Reynolds Razorback Stadium that the volume is amped up. Even with the few people that are in there and with the workers banging on things, we've got a stadium where now it's going to bounce. It isn't going to just immediately go up and out of the stadium. And again, it'll create an incredible home field advantage. We already have Greg McElroy, who said his game here was the loudest stadium he ever heard. We're gonna really, you're gonna see a substantial difference come this game against TCU, and I think it will be a difference maker. I think it will really help our football team, and then it'll be even better when we finish it in 18. But that noise will be contained in there far better than ever has before. Wait a minute, let me keep going on updates. Again, there's a lot of things swirl around about how things are going. We had 38 new suites between the north end zone and the new founder suites that will go in 2018. We sold 37 of them. So those of you who always said, I wanted the suite, but they don't have any, we got one. Okay? We got one. Scott Barry and his team, John Matsko, they're all over. Terry Prentice, they're all over here. John Gourlay, they're all over here. They'll take your information there. So we got one of those left. You know, we have 70 Lowe's boxes, and if you don't know what a Lowe's box is, I have a hard time describing it, but I say it's like the horse race outside club. It's 4 people, you got your own television, you're undercover, but you're outside, you got a beautiful club behind you. We have 70 of those to sell, and I think we've hit the 50 mark as of this morning. So only 20 of those left before the 18 season. The new club seats, which is around 2,000, 2,200, they're going on sale anytime, any month. We're working through a little legal piece, but they'll go on sale, and we expect those new club seats to go well. What we found, there's been very little cannibalization, meaning people have moved from seats to get these seats. We've seen a little bit of that, but really it's an opportunity for people who haven't been in on a season basis, who haven't been able to get the kind of seat with the amenity they want, a chair back with food and beverage. They haven't been able to get that, so they haven't bought. So this is an opportunity for new people to get in, which will help our Razorback Foundation, will help our program grow. Over here, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
One of my many goals in life, bucket list and all that is to say I've seen Arkansas play, Razorbacks play, any sport in as many venues and states as possible. One of my little bucket list was to see us play Michigan at the big house, and then they bought their way out of it. And I overheard something that said that led the way to us playing at Notre Dame. How did that come about?
Well, first of all, I saw games for 10 years in that stadium. It's no big deal. You're not missing anything. Trust me, you're not missing anything. Gosh, scheduling is really a jigsaw puzzle. It's the Rubik's Cube. I think Coach believes that had an impact, and it did. It opened up some new conversations. Yes, indirectly it helped, I guess. So, but scheduling is challenging any time. And when you have, and Bo and I were talking about it before, when you have a late cancellation like that, it really is very difficult to overcome, because as you guys see, people are scheduled out. The big games, they say they're an FCS game or a low-level FBS game. They schedule those a couple years out. But your marquee, your big game, you're scheduling it 5, 10, 7. Some people are now out into the 2030s. I was approached by a school the other day about 2030, 31, and I'm just a little bit hesitant about scheduling that far out. So I turned that opportunity down.
Who's next? Anybody else got one?
Yes, Mickey.
Oh,
Wait.
all the way in the back.
We'll go there.
real
We
quick.
got. I said Mickey.
Oh, you said
I'm
Mickey.
taking over your
Dude,
show.
Kevin, you're going to need to get up here. I'm out of control here above my head. Go ahead.
Go whichever way you want.
You said Mickey.
This is not my show.
Does he do this
Mickey?
to you? Kevin Trainer, for those that don't know, how long have you been doing the moderating at the SEC Media Days? 8 years, and he just takes over. Sit down. You go. Bob Holt. Bob. All right, where we go? Mickey? Where are we at?
There's
Right here.
Mickey.
There we go.
Jeff, you've talked in the past about potentially going to Kansas City or Houston for a football game. Is there any more to that?
I can tell you there's nothing actively going. If the right opportunity presented itself there. But some of that depends on what happens, with our games in Little Rock as well. So, those things are kind of on hold till we know the future. But we already have a neutral site game down in Dallas. It's unlikely we would do another one. The only way is if we got into a rough spot with the SEC's requirement to have an Autonomy 5 program on your schedule. If we ran into, we might have to do a one-off game in a neutral site to get that game. But right now, no current plans, but there's always things bubbling and brewing.
Now we'll go in the back.
On the master plan, I think around number 5 is the additions to Boggs Stadium. Is that still?
Yeah, Baum Stadium is certainly, still on that master plan, which was, now 2011. I think we started working on it in 2009. We rolled it out in 2011. And, I remember some of the reactions to that plan and no way they'll ever get there. And, we're really proud that we've worked methodically over that time period to improve our facilities. When you look at the Fred Smith Football Center, the Gene and Jerry Jones Academic Center, going down to the Fowler Baseball and Track Training Facility, not to mention what we've done in volleyball and swimming and soccer, and then the yet-to-be-named Basketball Performance Center. If any of you are interested, we can talk to you about that as well. Proud of those things. Bud Walton Arena is certainly on that master plan, and we're looking at things that we can and should do in Bud Walton Arena. And then, yes, Baum Stadium. I've mentioned before, we're kind of in a cycle now. The first 5 facilities or so, we're really focused all on the student athletes, all on helping them either improve their athletic performance or in the Jones Center, improve their academic performance. So now we're a period of time where we're improving things for fans. The north end zone at Donald W. Reynolds Razorback Stadium is that first major effort there. Provide the seating that our fans have said they've wanted, with the amenities, with the food and beverage and all those things. We'll now move on with some things we need to do in Bud Walton Arena, and then we'll move on. And I'm not saying in order. I'm not saying it's Bud Walton and then Baum, but those are the next 2 projects that we need to address, moving forward. And really that depends on our fan base. It depends on those willing to give to those projects and support it. It depends on the annual fund of the Razorback Foundation. So all of those things factor into this as we go forward, and we'll be, we hope to continue on down that path of that master plan. It's been very good to us.
Got time for a couple more. Tim, you're running out of time.
Tim,
Go ahead,
come on.
Tim. Go ahead.
I'm going to be nice today and not ask anything hard, but what do you think the landscape looks like for mega conferences in the future?
Yeah, great. The question is, what I think the landscape is for mega conferences. Obviously, I don't really know, obviously, and I don't think anybody does at this time period. I think as we get closer to the major television negotiations that occur, I think, and I'm not good, 22, 23, I think that's when the next one comes out there. You may see some movement. I can't tell you that I sit here and know of some cataclysmic change that's going to result in the 4 16-team conferences, but things are changing. All you have to do is look around the stadiums across the country and see the lack of fans in attendance, and you have to read about the unbundling in the cable and satellite television industry. What's that going to mean to us? So it's a little early to know, but I would not be surprised if there is more movement on the landscape. Whether it actually gets to 4 or 5 conferences, I'm not sure. Whether it'll grow to 6. Those are all things that I think that are out there, that are possibilities that people are working on in probably television networks, different places, seeing if they can influence the conference makeup. So to their advantage and to the conference's advantage financially. And we always know that financially is not always the be-all, end-all, but it does certainly drive many things.
Got time
Does
for
that help?
One
You're looking
more.
good. I want you to know, Tim, I think you're looking good.
It's a nice part.
It is. It's
Good wave, Chris.
Jealousy.
No, I
Jealousy.
Yes.
For me, yes.
In the offseason, there was some talk about conference swapping, Auburn to the east, Missouri to the west. Some mention of that. Is there anything come from any of that, or is that even being discussed?
The question is, there earlier there was discussion about Auburn moving to the east and to Missouri to the west. Those were made by colleagues of mine who didn't follow the conference doctrine of not talking and discussing those things in public. But now that you've asked, I will just say this. To me, and I'm consistent in this, when Missouri came into the league, I really felt that over time we should find a way for Missouri to be in the West, because it's a student athlete welfare issue. It's where they are, and to make them, force them. I get it initially as we move them into the conference, and so, but I think we'll continue to look at that, evaluate that. I do think it's a strain on Missouri to be playing all in the East, So that's my view, and I'm consistent in that view from the day they came into the conference. I think Missouri should be in the West.
Jeff, it's been great to have you here. Do you have anything you want to say before we let you go?
Let's see. Yes. How much time do we have?
Well, a couple minutes.
Okay. I do think that I hope all of you are proud of your Razorback program. I hope you're proud of the culture we've built. I think our coaches, we are going to have young people that step out of line, make mistakes, do things we wish they hadn't done. But I hope you also respect that our coaches have discipline and accountability. Those young people, there are consequences to their action. And they are young people, and we're going to try to help them see things differently, see how their actions result in negatively, first on themselves, but also on our program and the university and all those things. That's an important part of what we do. I hope you've noticed, you haven't seen a lot of those instances in our program, but when you do, I hope you notice that we act upon them quickly and decisively in a way that I hope makes you proud. We're not a win-at-all-costs program. I know that some people would like us to be, and I guess I can say I respect that too. There are certainly programs out there across this country that are win-at-all-costs programs, and I readily know that they exist and we compete against them. But we have a program that is built, I believe, on the right things, and I hope that you're proud of it. And when we win, it's even more special. So proud of our student athletes, proud of our coaches, proud to represent the University of Arkansas, and hope to be here a long time.
Jeff Long in his 10th year, everybody.
Thank you all. Go Hogs!